thank you all for being here today. My name is Vincent Ribière. I'm the host of Creative Mornings Bangkok. As a designer, as a creative director, we got a chance to work with Tommaso on other events like Creative Bangkok, and so I'm sure you will be delighted to hear his talk. So, Tommaso, the floor is yours. Thank you.
And in Milan, I started even a blog because I was art director for a magazine. I have a lot of information about designer, artists. I cannot push that to fund charity. So at a certain point I decided to do by myself. So I opened the blog. It was the first in Italy to speak about design. Not just in a soft way to say this is cute, this is nice, but quite to engage discussion, let's say. And so I started to have a lot of followers until I was invited to many events and to do my contribution about design, talking about the discussion what's going on in Italy. So it was a little things, but made me a lot of connection and introduced me to the museum, to many people. So a very interesting experience. So from the underground, let's say, I was able to then to participate to the Triennale Design Museum, to be in the jury, to be at the, even to the Compassadores, the first prize in Italy for the design award. So it was part of it. True is my own perspective, my own reality. I say what I think about the other competition. Anyway, this website is still on, so you can check. The Jewish Wizard. This me again, and was in Milan, and this me before I live in Italy. This was then exhibited in during the design week. It was the Facebook. This was the interaction of Facebook. This artist created a Facebook where it did this to me and other 10 people, and it displayed during the design week. So it was quite an intense experience because in order to do that, so you have to close your eyes and stay under this material for a few minutes. So you can breathe only through a little tube on your mouth. So it's quite intense, let's say, because you cannot open your mouth, you cannot open your eyes. It's like you are under the ground. So anyway, it was intense, but it's a nice portrait at the end of the day. So then I moved to Mexico first, and I moved to Thailand. So of course there's a cultural gap. So move from far away, and it's a big thing. But as Italian, we say we are, let's say, a nation. People are used to travel, to explore, and to see new things. They say we are artists and so on. So I cannot say no to the new challenge. So I came to Thailand to start a new program in communication design. For me, it was a very interesting experience as a designer, and I was already teaching over there. So a new program, it was a good opportunity. So I decided to move. And I say, in order to move as a designer, I have to keep in mind that the culture is related and somehow change and cast the way we see things. So this is mine. It's the same for the design. We talk always about design thinking. It's very popular. And again, design thinking is about culture, is related on the culture. So we need to keep in our mind. It's all about who we are and where we are, and where we are accordingly. So I moved between design and education. Education and design are related to each other to me. Each feed the other. This one project I did with my student last semester. The other side is some graphic that I print on silk. Same project of fashion, and the other side is a project with my student about body perception, body consciousness. Because as designer, I think it's important in order to design something for the others. You need to know yourself. In order to know yourself, you need to perceive yourself, to understand your feeling, how you feel, in order to express that. So I did some experiment with my student. So design is about communication. It's fashion, branding, communication, and again, is about the experience, while education for me is to create a new curriculum, to start up new design classes, for instance, not only, but teaching, of course, is research, and be an advisor, because it's an important part when you teach. So then we say, all the time as designer, and education is very related, because both, of course, are related to people. But we have, again, to remember that whatever we say, whatever we do, is related to our own reference and external reference. And this is whatever you do, something you have to keep in mind. So this is a photo I took a few weeks ago. And I was invited to a factory to see the production line. And they always say, you can come over, but it's very boring. So there is nothing to see. But to me, as a designer, I go into small detail and zoom those things. And can you guess what is that? Okay. So it's quite cool. So it's a material you can use for maybe for photo shooting. It's not just to throw away. So, and then I turn off and find this space. So some of my friends here, they will love to do a photo shooting in this space for sure. So, but for them, see, sometimes the reality, things we see every day, after a while it's quite boring. I'll say, okay, I'm used to this. Like the same for the city, you need to change sometime, or you need to call somebody from outside to have a new perspective. That is what actually design should do, give you a new perspective, new reality. You have the chance to perceive things from another point of view. This again was another factory. I was not really interested in the final product, was not really my style, but the process was very cool. So all those things make me to see different perspective. Material, color, you can re-elaborate and create another vision from scratch. Some example. Yes, this as well. What's that? No? Is another part of the metal laser cut. So this just, yes. What remain on the machine. Just small details, small little things, but then all those things, for me, are quite small note, visual notes, that I can use later on to create some other things. So I use the now to record. Then if we work on the scientific point of view, as the body, we can say the body has two sides. One is what happened to our body from outside in, the other side is from inside out. Called proprioception and interoception. Okay, from your face maybe it's too much for early morning. But this is how our body is working, from outside out what we test, and from inside out where our emotion came from. And something that is quite interesting to know. Let me say, but everything, so in order to understand the right where we are, we need to touch things, to be in contact with objects. Now, if you can close your eyes, can you close your eyes? Yeah, don't worry, just close your eyes. A few seconds. Close your eyes and try to feel yourself. Close your eyes. Yeah, that's a good excuse to do now. Okay? So in order to feel yourself, probably you start to feel where you sit now. The stone, right? The concrete. If you not sit, probably you feel just the ground under your feet. So this is something that usually you don't think about, but this is how sometimes it's important to relate it, to understand how you can be able to perceive yourself. You can open your eyes again. Thank you. That's fact, the body, in order to realize the body, you need to interact with the body, you need to react with the surroundings. But again, it's not just about the body, it's all about you. And next to you, what happened to you, to your body, is next to your body, what is next to you. So, from this side, from the same direction, a color release from 1939, almost 80 years ago. This architect, Kisler, say everything we do is related to as action and reaction of how we build the new environment and to the natural landscape. It's always a consequence of our action, and these are not things we must keep in mind. On the same direction, this philosopher say, in order to grow, as a human being, of course you relate and you have again action reaction to people next to you, and not only people next to you, is your family, your peers, your colleague, until the society next to you, not just in the city, not just in this classroom, not in the auditorium, even to people on the other side of the world can affect you, because in terms of politics, in terms of society and economy, all is about what you do and how you react to it. Maybe something we have a big impact on you, something else just smaller. But all is about the time, the perception of time, because all those things happen because time and space. Again, that makes your reality similar to the reality of difference, very different from the other. Even something happened to you in this month, near you, we have different perception of this now. So if you live in a city like Bangkok, the time here will be different in a city like here, up to you, up to not, because the way you behave, right, the things you have to do, your mind will act in a different way. So close your eyes again, just we do a little experiment, and try to count until 60, and then you raise your arm when you're done. Just count until 60. It's not difficult. Okay? When you're done, just raise your hand. So once you're done, you can raise your arm and just say hi. Okay. So maybe somebody take a shot of a nap. Okay, you can see each of us have a very different perception of time. So then you have to keep this in mind, even when you talk to others for any project or any conversation. If the time, the first thing is different between each other, how we can discuss other matter. So we have to make an agreement all the time. Anyway, so the fact is, still, you just wake up. So just realize that the only things we are able to touch is the now. So the past and the future doesn't exist yet. The past you cannot touch again, you cannot modify, and the future you can only think about it, but we are not able to touch. There's one theory called biocentrism that say that all time and space doesn't exist. That doesn't exist because we live only now. Time is just our own perception, our own construction. And again, it's another reality. If you think about reality, but your life is just now, days, only now, this moment. Now you can touch yourself, you can move around, but you don't know in 10 minutes what happened. Oh, what's the past doesn't exist. I cannot go back, right? Just keep it. And same for the senses. Senses, in order to work, they need something between, need a medium. So see the color, for instance, you need light, right? Hear my voice, you need the mic, and you need the sound, the air. So color is very important, for instance, and are even present in the dream. So now you can dream again for a few seconds. You close your eyes and think about a pink cow. Okay, just close your eyes and think as much detail as you can, a pink cow. Think of all the detail. Then you can open again. Sort of like a relaxed class more than talk. Okay, you can open again and just reply those answer those questions. So, was your cow facing left or right? Left. So left. This is left. Straight in front of you. Okay. So it was light pink or dark pink? Right? Okay. Was it chewing something? No? No one? No. Okay. Okay. So now close your eyes again and think about the yellow cow. Just a few seconds. Okay. Now, what is the main difference between the yellow and pink cow? In terms of the tail. Think of the tail. Why are you talking? All right. Yeah, yes, it is. But I'm sure not everyone has this idea of the cow in your mind. Because again, it's about reality. Each of us has a different reality, different way to perceive things. It's the same for the time, the same of our picture we have in our mind. It's probably related to our childhood or our way of thinking. At the same thing, it's a journey that all the time you have to keep thinking how the other people will perceive your idea of your work, or how you can anticipate other idea, other mind. So you cannot actually, you can only listen to others to understand what you can do. So it's always a collaboration. So what I can say to finish this talk is just, as designer, by being aware of the realities, as reality is just a subjective matter. As we say, we agree that the now is the only moment. It is the only tangible moment. It's the only moment we can touch and we can modify our life. This exact moment. The designer job, the other things we can do is take it into account and translate it into a new vision. This is what designer must do, not in a process, not in a final project, but maybe just a process. You keep this and you translate it later on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Tommaso. So usually we entertain a lot of questions after the talk. So the question part is also very important part of the event. So who would like to start with a question for Tommaso? A real question, reality.
Real.
Through your work, you work about the color or things like this.
Yes.
You mentioned reality, the different realities, and as you work in different places in the world, do you feel an impact of globalization about the perception of reality? I mean, do you feel that there is a common ground more and more, or because it seems that there is a paradox between the fact that it's more and more globalized, at the same time there is more and more small identity that want to emerge.
Yeah.
So how reality is working in globalization in this case?
I think on one side, of course, globalization, if you feel everywhere you go, it's the same things. But the other hand, people want to do something very local. So they try to keep some tradition. And of course, in terms of business, you have to even to balance the two things. So you cannot be too traditional, because if you do, then people say, okay, again, the same thing. So you need a little twist. That twist, maybe you need sometimes just to step back, what you are doing, and change perspective. It's like you can appreciate your country when you're out of your country. It's the same thing with tradition against the contemporary.
Yes, Mike. The mic for Mike.
Hello, thank you, Tommaso.
Thanks.
I really love the colors and the photos that you show. So starting from your heritage on the Riviera, but what I'm thinking of is reality that we're talking about is shaped by perceptions, by different perceptions. And in your work, you focus a lot on colors, as Mark said, and on imaginations of people. What I'm wondering about is how you help people on their journey to discover this reality with focusing on certain things. As you went to this fabric, or you went to this places, and then you put a macro and you look on the machines, or you look at the fabric, and you focus on completely different things that I would focus on. Yeah? So how can you bring people in your reality? How do you bring people in your world with your work?
This is one tool. So the photo are one tool. So it can be at least. So in this case, I went to the factory, and then I sent back to the owner just my own vision about what is their reality, without saying it's the right one or the wrong one, just to give them another perspective. And maybe just this is enough to make you think about or rethink what you can do with this space or with your own things.
I like this kind of photos, which are combined with a question. Yeah? For example, what is this? What do you think about? What do you imagine about? Yeah? So
Exactly.
that the visual, I would say, trigger comes together with a question.
Yeah, because
Then
then
you see how people dialogue.
exactly, you start the dialogue in this way, and then you can start to build up. It can be a concept, then you can create the corporate identity, for instance. Yeah? But you can start from something real. People need to touch things, but then a different angle.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to you.
Was a question for Tommaso. So a question might be a stupid question, but if everyone perceives reality in a different way, why does the word reality exist? Because if it doesn't exist, so why does the word reality exist by itself?
Probably you can describe your own reality, but you cannot generalize. Reality is the reality for everybody. That is my own, again, perspective.
Question, don't be shy. You can even ask it in Italian, yes. Or in Thai.
Do you think reality from different people can become a conflict?
Yes, why not? But conflict in a way, not a conflict, can be a way to start a dialogue. Of course, me and you probably we have different point of view for some specific topics. Doesn't mean we have to kill each other. So we can just exchange the idea and then come across.
And do you think if we have the same perception of reality, can it make people come together?
No, I don't think so. I think it's not to have the same perception, to have the same reality, but maybe you can have the same vision. You can have different perception from me, but maybe we have the same vision, same idea about what we want to go, and then we work together to go there.
So you're a product designer also. So how do you again the customer might have their own perception of reality, and as a designer or as a company you might think that your customer might want something else. So again, what are the tools and techniques that helps to bring the perception, the vision, together, or to somehow come up with a common vision of things or common understanding or better understanding?
Yeah, I think the best thing is to understand who is your customer. So the best thing is always design something for yourself. Sometimes it's the best way to start something new. So actually, the maestro of design, like Castiglione, all the Italian master, some still alive, even 100 years old. So they design things for themselves, they own it, because they really say, oh, this is what I need now. So then, other people ask them, so I need something similar. So, depends, you can start for your own things, with your own perspective. maybe people will be inspired from you.
The reason I was asking, because we know lots of innovation fail, and they fail because the customer later on don't relate or don't see the value out of what was created as a product or whatever. So to reduce this lack of failure, I think, as you said, I mean, a better understanding or better communication might help to
yes,
achieve this.
Even because sometimes the designer will be called just the last minutes for the final touch. But we need to start the discussion since day one, because again, it's about the vision. So if you own the company, you want to do something or whatever you want to do, so you must discuss with people with different backgrounds, and then we work together, because it's not just about being decorative.
Great, thank you. Questions? Yes, Claudia.
Thank you very much. Do you remember a crazy project where you had to work on a fascinating creative thing, where you had to create something extraordinary? Do you remember something like that?
No. No.
Let's no follow-up question, thank you.
Xavier likes to talk about time. Do you want to say a few things about time?
No, I can do it, but I'm convinced, I share the same vision as you. I'm convinced time does not exist, it's just a vision of the mind, and it is just about the present, as you presented. Now, my question is more about, do you think design is very solitary work, or can you involve customers, for example? Are you able to involve external visions or perceptions in your own building, or is it just a personal dimension?
Good question, thank you. No, designer is not an artist, it's different. So as designer, you must work with other people. So you must listen to other people. But you have to add the value of your experience, how to translate your own perception with the value of to listen to other people. So it's always a co-working, you know, you have co-authors. Whatever you do, it's not only the designer. So it's easy to say the designer is just one person, because you cannot put other name under the label of your shirt, for instance, and then you have just one name. Of course, it's always a teamwork. It's the same I do with my students. We try to push students to understand the value of work together. So that's why I start from the body, the consciousness of the body. And once you understand your limit, then you can understand even others and others. But first you need to understand yourself.
So finally, design is always based on external elements.
It is.
Perception, point of view, perspective, but there is nothing completely internal. It's always nourished by something external.
You need to add your internal, you need to add your emotion. This is another act of design. Usually in design alphabet there is no emotion, while in theater emotion is the central part. But we never teach in design emotion is important, but we need it, because especially when we talk, we say it's for other people. If people want something they feel, and feel good or feel cozy, it's a specific feeling. So you have to add from your own first.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The people you're working with, is it sometimes difficult to make them share or understand the fact that reality is very, well, your definition of reality, and that every person has a different perspective? Is it sometimes difficult to make them understand that, so that it's difficult to work with them?
So this is 99% of the time. This is the design job, to make you able to collaborate. So a good designer is the one who is able to collaborate with us abroad audience, so much more people you work with. That means you are able to, you became a node. To me, design is a node. Somebody able to work with people with a very different background, but to create something with the same vision. So always is a dialogue. It's not a monologue. So it's quite hard to talk sometimes. Because where you have to push yourself, but you have to be polite at the other hand. So.
In my opinion, there is a common ground between your work and the scientific work. We just forget it, because the first step of a scientific building is the ontological part, but nobody do it nowadays, and in my opinion, it's a lack.
Hi, Tommaso. I'll just give you a little bit of background to myself, because that will help you understand the two questions I have. So I'm James Gomez. I'm Associate Dean at the School of Communication Arts. My project here at Bangkok University is to help them roll out international programs from PhD, Masters, and Bachelors. So my question is like this. The first one is a financial question. How valued is creativity from a financial point of view? You know, first as an individual, for the work that you do, many creative persons that I met always feel undervalued. You know, customers or clients are not willing to pay for creativity because it's something they can't, you know.
They cannot touch.
Yeah, that's right. So could you just maybe share your experiences and your own opinions about that? Then I'll ask the next question.
Yes. I do agree that's happened many times. So it's very hard when you formulate your fee to make people understand why you're asking for such fee. Actually, then you say when you pay people to fix something at your house, you pay them by hours, then you can see and touch what they fix. So our work sometimes as designer or the creative scene is more intangible. So if you put a photographer, you will see the portrait at the end of the day. But even the photo, it's hard to detect the value of such photo of any work. People have to understand that whatever we come up as a result is I think it's an outcome based on experience. The more experience you have, more the quality of the work will be. And in order to make people to understand this, you have to create a dialogue. I never present just the fee, so I need really to involve them in the process, to have sometimes a quite long conversation, more than one time, to understand each other. Then they can see all the value. Sometimes I show them the way I work. So the process from taking the first photo when I went to the space, they see this is my perspective, and then we build up something we can start to work with. So we need first a vision, then we can. But it's always a debate.
So the second question or a comment which I invite your attention is then providing education in this area, creative industries, design and so on. So one of the challenges that we face, you know, in trying to roll out this so-called international programs here, is to persuade the parents to part with, you know, actually substantial amount of money because, you know, studying in Bangkok University is not cheap. You know?
It's one of the most expensive.
Yeah. You know, parents are not so convinced to part with money, and I just wanted to, you know, get your own experience as you deal with students. That's at the undergraduate level, and the master's and PhD levels a lot more of a challenge because most of the time you're working adults, there's opportunity costs and stuff like that. So I wanted to kind of, you know, just move away from the design portion and creative portion and try to pull out your experiences in terms of rolling out education and again the monetization in that area.
Yeah, this is another challenge, especially things in Asia. And to enroll in Europe is the same. People to be enrolled in the art field, they feel there will be no job. So why should do something in this area? So in fact, the main lack on arts education, creativity education, let's say, is nobody teach you how to survive. So there is no business skill into it. So if you want to be an artist, you study arts, and nobody teach you how to do a business plan, for instance. Nobody coach you on these sides, but this is very relevant. I think from the education side, the creative side of education, adding the business to creative would be a challenge, but it would be at the same time an opportunity. And of course, this way, parents would be more, let's say, happy to make their own son to study that. Because anyway, then the struggle for young artist, young designer, or whatever you want to study is what is the first step? So you are in a big corporation. The big corporation will underpay you, but you get some experience. And then sometimes they want to do some new entrepreneur. So they want to create some startup. One side is good, but they have a lot of money to invest. They have no experience at all. So schools should work much more in this direction. And then to make even students, these 4 or 5 years, or even during the PhD, to make more, to balance how you can create this work in the field. So to create some money from that. So you create a paper, but then how this paper can be translated something economic with economic value. So we need to work in this direction.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Any final question? Yes, please.
Tommaso, thank you for sharing this morning. I have a question for you about you delved into reality today. Curious if you could share with us, as a designer, how has life for you and work in these different environments you've lived in, and now in Bangkok for some years, how has it changed you as a designer? What's an example of the way it's changed you? Maybe your perception or how you go about your work or something like that. Have you been influenced by your surroundings?
Yeah, sure. Every city, every country influenced me. So even the way I act, the way I dress is different every time I move from country to country. If you saw the previous picture, before moving to Thailand, I was with a young bird. Then I cut, this of course changed your perception first, and then the way you design. And here, if you remember one of the first picture I showed between education and design, one is about clothing, right? Garment. So I did this garment because I started just to collect what was new for me. It was this fabric. I collect fabric from north to south of Thailand until I decided must do something because I cannot keep this experience in the closet. So, and then I step into the fashion, I would say, this way. So all the time, I try to add something from this culture. Some expression of the product. Sometimes there are other ways I can write about. So different way, different times.
Thank you.
Any last question? No? Talking about education, I just take this opportunity to announce this. So we are at Bangkok University, we are launching a new program which is called an MBI, a Master in Business Innovation, which really focuses on how to use your creativity in the business world, or how to convert your ideas into successful products, services, or new processes. So if some of you are interested in this program, so you can talk to Xavier from here that will be happy to tell you all about this new vision. It's kind of, for us, a new vision of the MBA, but which is much more targeted towards innovation. And as you said, I mean, we don't know what the future will be, so it's difficult to teach you some skills and knowledge that you will need to use in the future. So we're more likely to teach you how to think, how to approach, and how to learn maybe in a different way that will help you adjust to your environment and to your reality. Well, let's give a big round of applause for Tommaso for his great talk today. And let's give him a little token of appreciation for your presentation. Thank you so much, Tommaso. Thank you. Great. Thank you so much.